"Dad, please. I really don't know who got me pregnant," Isabella cried. Before she could say another word, slap, a sharp sound filled the room. Her father, General Benjamin Henry, the man who had always adored her and treated her like a princess, had just hit her for the first time in her life. "Benjamin, stop it. She's your daughter," cried Grandma Elizabeth, rushing forward to protect Isabella. She wrapped her arms around the trembling girl, shielding her from the angry man towering above them. But Benjamin Henry wasn't just any father. He was one of the most feared generals in the entire army. His voice alone could make soldiers shake. And now, that same voice thundered through the mansion. "What kind of woman are you?" he roared, his eyes burning with rage. "Did I not raise you better than this?" He grabbed Isabella's jaw roughly, his fingers digging into her tear-streaked cheeks. "I searched the entire military camp. I questioned every man, every single one, and not one person admitted to being the father of your child." He raised his hand again, ready to strike. "Stop, please." Grandma Elizabeth begged. "It's already happened. We can't change it now." Just then, Isabella's stepsister, Rose Henry, ran into the room. "Daddy, please don't blame Bella. It's my fault too. If I had known, I would have stayed with her at the party," she said in a soft voice that sounded caring. But to Isabella, those words cut deep. Her eyes widened. Lies. It was all Rose's fault. That night, Rose had given her a hotel key card during a senior officer's wedding. Isabella had planned to give herself to her boyfriend, Lucas Daniel, a fellow cadet she had loved for 2 years. But she'd been drunk, confused. She walked into the wrong hotel room. And when she woke up the next morning, it was in another man's arms. She wanted to forget that nightmare, until weeks later, she found out she was pregnant. "Stay out of this, Rose." Benjamin barked. "You're not at fault. It was Isabella's decision to sleep with a man." "Daddy, I thought it was Lucas," Isabella cried. "I didn't know. Please, believe me." But her father's anger only grew. "Lucas," he shouted. "You mean the son of my rival? Even if it was him, I would never have accepted that relationship." He slammed his fist on the table. "How do we find a man you don't even know, Isabella? You can't remember his face, his name, nothing. You've brought shame to this family." From the corner, Isabella's stepmother Margaret Henry spoke with a fake worried tone. "Darling, maybe it's best to stop searching. The man could be married, or a criminal. We wouldn't want the press to find out about this, would we?" "Shut up, Margaret," the general snapped. "You and Rose, out of my sight." Turning back to Isabella, his voice dropped, lower, colder. "Tell me one last time, Isabella, who is the father?" Still trembling in her grandmother's arms, Isabella whispered through her tears. "Dad, I'm sorry. I don't know. I left as soon as I realized it wasn't Lucas. Please forgive me." Benjamin's face hardened. "Get out," he said quietly. Then louder, "Get out and never come back." "Benjamin, it's raining outside. She's pregnant." Grandma Elizabeth pleaded. "I don't care," he shouted. "She has shamed the Henry name. Even my commanders laugh behind my back." For the first time, Isabella saw her father cry. "I adored you," he said, voice breaking. "But you broke my trust. You shattered my heart." With one final shout, "Leave!" he dragged her by the arm and threw her out into the cold rain. Thunder cracked above. She stood before the great double doors, soaked to the skin, crying and begging. "Daddy, please. I'm sorry." But the door never opened. From the window above, she could see Rose and Margaret watching, smiling faintly at her pain. Hours passed. Her legs shook. Finally, the family's old driver came and helped her away at Grandma Elizabeth's request. The kind woman made sure Isabella was safe and sent her far away where she could quietly have a baby. The next day, Isabella boarded a plane to Boston City. After one night in a small hotel, she found a tiny apartment and tried to start a new life. That night, she stood on the balcony, watching the bright Christmas lights below. The city looked peaceful, but her heart was broken. Her blue eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Grandma, I miss you. Mom, I wish you hadn't left me." Her mother had died in a car crash years ago, and her father had remarried soon after. Since then, everything had changed. A cold breeze lifted her golden hair as she looked down at her belly, now round and full. She gently touched it with both hands. "Life is growing inside me," she said softly. "I'll protect you, both of you." Yes, twins. Even though her father had tried to force her into an abortion, Isabella had refused. Deep inside, she felt these babies were her reason to live. Her grandmother had been secretly helping her, sending money and comfort from afar, defying the general's orders. Now, at 35 weeks pregnant, on the night before Christmas, Isabella felt a small kick in her belly, and tears rolled down her cheeks again. 9 long months had passed since that terrible night. And though the pain still lingered, one thing was clear. She was no longer the same Isabella Henry. This was the beginning of her new life, far from the mansion, far from the shame, far from the father who had abandoned her in the rain. 6 months had passed since Isabella was thrown out of her father's mansion. Now, she lived quietly in Boston City, staying with her mother's sister, Aunt Nora. Her father, General Benjamin Henry, was still one of the most powerful men in the country. People respected him and feared him. He commanded the entire nation's army. So when news spread that his only daughter had gotten pregnant before graduating from the military academy, it became the biggest scandal anyone could remember. Whispers followed Isabella everywhere. How could a general's daughter do such a thing? Didn't he raise her with discipline? What a disgrace to the Henry family. Each word stabbed at her heart. Her father had once dreamed that Isabella would follow in his footsteps, become a soldier, and one day lead like him. She had even given up her own dreams just to make him proud. But now, all that was gone. The academy dismissed her. Her name, once respected, had turned to shame. Even her boyfriend, Lucas Daniel, the one she had loved for 2 years, denied her. He told everyone, "It wasn't me." And he was right. He wasn't the man from that terrible night. At just 21, Isabella carried the child of a stranger. One cold December night, she sat quietly on the balcony, staring at the snowy streets of Boston. Her mind replayed everything. Her father's slap, her stepmother's cold smile, Rose's fake tears. "Bella." Aunt Nora called from the living room. "It's freezing out there. Come inside. It's almost midnight." "Yes, Aunt," Isabella said softly and went inside. The table was set with a small Christmas Eve dinner, just the two of them and a glazed ham. As Isabella sat down, she suddenly remembered the grand dinners her family used to have every Christmas. Tears filled her eyes. Did Dad ever think of me on nights like this? Then, suddenly, a warm rush spread down her legs. Her breath caught. "Oh no, Aunt Nora, I think my water just broke." Aunt Nora froze. "What? But it's too early." "I know," Isabella groaned, clutching her belly. "The babies aren't ready yet." Panic filled the house. Aunt Nora grabbed her coat and purse. "We need to get to the hospital. Now." It was Christmas Eve, and taxis were scarce. By the time they reached the hospital, Isabella was trembling in pain. Nurses rushed her in, but the place was short-staffed. Her obstetrician, Dr. Sarah, couldn't be reached immediately. Minutes turned into an hour. The contractions grew stronger. Isabella screamed through the pain as nurses whispered nervously, "Dr. Sarah is on her way. We don't have any ventilators left for the babies. Hopefully, they'll breathe on their own." "What?" Isabella cried. "Please, tell me what's happening. Are my babies okay?" The nurse tried to stay calm. "We're doing our best, Miss Henry. Just hold on." Her heart pounded. "Please, God, not my babies." Then she remembered. Her doctor had given her steroid shots weeks ago to help the twins' lungs grow faster. Maybe that would save them. Before anyone could answer, a doctor shouted, "She's crowning. Move Hay to the delivery room." "Where's my doctor?" Isabella screamed as they pushed her bed down the hall. "She's on her way." The pain came in waves, strong and merciless. In the delivery room, sweat rolled down her face. She couldn't think straight. The beeping of machines, the blur of white coats, everything melted together. Then she heard a familiar voice. "Bella, I'm here," Dr. Sarah said, taking her hand. "You're going to be fine. Remember what I told you. Push when the contractions come." "Ah," Isabella cried, gripping the sheets. "You're doing great. Almost there." With every scream, she begged God for forgiveness, for strength, for her babies. "Push, Bella, push." And then, a cry filled the room, sharp and beautiful. "Baby girl Henry," Dr. Sarah announced, smiling. 20 minutes later, another cry echoed through the room. "Baby boy Henry. Congratulations, Bella, both are healthy and breathing on their own." Isabella burst into tears as the nurse laid the two tiny bodies on her chest. Their skin was soft, warm, and alive. "Thank God," she sobbed, kissing their little heads again and again. "Thank you, God." She smiled weakly. "It's nice to meet you, Ethan and Ella. Mommy loves you so much." Ella arrived at 2:45 a.m. Ethan followed at 3:05 a.m. Both were small, barely 4 pounds each, but strong and breathing fine. Later that night, on Christmas Day, Isabella visited them in the nursery. Aunt Nora was already there, helping the nurses. "They are beautiful," Aunt Nora whispered. "Let's call your grandmother. She's been dying to see them." Isabella nodded with a smile. When Grandma Elizabeth Henry appeared on the video call, her eyes immediately filled with tears. "Oh, Bella, my great-grandbabies are so beautiful," she said between sobs. "They are your greatest Christmas gifts. Cherish them." Isabella smiled through tears. "I wish you were here, Grandma." "I wish that too, my dear," Elizabeth said gently. "Promise me something, Bella. Start a new life. Your aunt will help you finish your studies. We'll save the rest of the money for your schooling. You can still make something of yourself." "Yes, Grandma. I promise," Isabella said, her voice breaking. "I love you, Bella. Be strong," her grandmother said, wiping her eyes. After the call ended, Isabella sat quietly, gazing at her twins, their tiny chests rising and falling. She whispered to them softly, "You'll be my strength now, my reason to keep going. Together, we'll be a family. I don't need anyone else." She lifted her eyes toward the hospital window, where snowflakes fell gently outside. "Dad," she whispered, "one day, I'll make you proud. I'll show you that I can stand on my own." Then she looked back at Ethan and Ella, sleeping peacefully in her arms, and for the first time in a long while, she smiled. It was the beginning of something new. If you are enjoying this story, please hit the like button and share with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more interesting emotional stories like this one. The golden plaque on the wall shimmered under the restaurant lights. It read, "Boston's most promising chef, Isabella Henry." Just the other day, the city's mayor had presented it to her in person. Standing there, Isabella smiled proudly. "Dad," she whispered under her breath, "one day you'll see I made it on my own, and you'll be proud of me." Almost 5 years had passed since the stormy night she gave birth to Ethan and Ella. Now 26, Isabella had blossomed into a strong, graceful woman. She was still the stunning beauty she had always been, only wiser, calmer, and tougher. She was now head chef of the Silver Plate restaurant, a fine dining gem inside one of Boston's best hotels. The city buzzed about her cooking. Her dishes were elegant, creative, and unforgettable. Funny enough, Isabella had never wanted to join the military. Her real dream had always been to become a chef. Now, free from her father's strict control, she had finally built that dream from scratch, just like her grandmother had encouraged her to do. Between sleepless nights and endless classes, she had worked her way through culinary school while raising her twins. It hadn't been easy, but Aunt Nora had been her rock, taking early retirement just to help care for the children. Now, life was beginning to look beautiful again. She looked up at the clock and gasped. "Oh shoot, it's almost 2. She hurried into the living room, tying her apron. From behind a laptop, little Ethan, now 5, called out, "Mommy, your Windows is out of date. We need to upgrade it." Isabella laughed. "Oh, Ethan, I have no idea what you're talking about. Go ahead and do it later, okay? It costs $110, he said seriously. Her eyes widened. "Wow. Then we'll definitely do it later," she said with a teasing grin and kissed his forehead. "I have to go, baby. I love you." From across the room, Ella looked up from her drawing. "Mom, when will we see Daddy?" The question hit Isabella like a knife. She froze for a second. Daddy," she stammered. Busy right now, sweetheart. Soon, okay. Very soon." She bent to kiss Ella's cheek. "Don't forget to eat dinner, you two. I'll see you tonight." "I love you," the twins chorused. "And we love Daddy too," Ella added with a giggle. Isabella's smile faltered for a second before she turned away. Yes, she had lied to her children. When the twins turned 3, they began to ask about their father. She didn't know what to say. At first, she told them, "Daddy is far away." But as they grew older and started school, the questions kept coming. Why doesn't Daddy pick us up? Why does everyone else have a daddy? So one day, she came up with a story that their father worked in Texas City, the same place she was born and where she had left her past behind. She didn't plan to return there, not ever. But it was easier than telling them the truth. One day, when they were older, she promised herself she'd tell them everything. For now, she let them stay innocent. As Aunt Nora walked her to the door, she sighed. "Bella, you can't keep lying to them. They are almost 5. What will you do when they start asking harder questions?" "I know, Auntie. I'll tell them soon. I just need a little more time," Isabella said quietly. Then she smiled and waved. "Take care of my babies for me." Moments later, she was driving to the hotel. Inside the Silver Plate, the staff greeted her warmly. "Good afternoon, Chef Bella." "Good afternoon," she replied cheerfully. "Let's get started with today's briefing." But before she could continue, a voice called from behind. "Hold up, Bella." She turned to see Mr. Richard Edward, the hotel's general manager, walking toward her with a big grin. "Good afternoon, Mr. Edward," she said politely. "You look unusually happy today." "Oh, I have good reason to be," he said, motioning for her to sit. The restaurant was empty, the calm before the evening rush. As soon as they sat down, his excitement bubbled over. "Bella, you won't believe this. The other night, one of the biggest businessmen from Texas City came here for dinner, Michael James." The name hit her like cold water. Texas City, the very place she had run from. "Yes, that Michael James," Edward continued. "He owns the James Golden Palm Corporation. They are expanding into the hotel business. He tasted your dishes, and Bella," he leaned forward with shining eyes. "He loved them." She blinked, stunned. "He did? Loved them so much," Edward went on excitedly, "that he wants to hire you. He said he's willing to pay off your entire contract with us and offer you a position in Texas City. What? Isabella blurted. That's impossible. I still have a year left, and my termination fee alone is $10,000. Edward smiled wider. Not anymore. He's offering to pay that, and an extra $20,000 to the hotel. He's serious, Bella. His assistant will be here tomorrow to talk details. Isabella stared, speechless. You sold me out, didn't you? She said, half laughing, half stunned. Edward chuckled. Bella, come on. This isn't a bad thing. It's for your future, and your kids. Do you know how much they are offering you? She folded her arms. How much? $10,000. A month. Her mouth dropped open. What? Yup, Edward said proudly. Plus, they'll give you a free apartment in Texas City. You'll be head chef at their new luxury hotel when it opens. She sat back, completely dazed. That amount was life-changing. $10,000 a month. Free housing. A chance to finally start her own business someday. But then, Texas. Her heart tightened. Returning there meant facing the place that had caused her the most pain. That night, she called her grandmother. Grandma, I got a job offer in Texas, Isabella said softly. There was a long pause. Then came the warm, trembling voice she had missed so much. Bella, take it, Grandma Elizabeth said firmly. It's time to come home. You've worked so hard. You've made a name for yourself. Show your father that you succeeded, without his help. Isabella stood on the balcony, the cold wind brushing her hair as she stared at the glittering city lights below. Her heart pounded. Am I really ready for this, Grandma? Yes, you are, my dear. And this time, I'll finally get to see you again. Tears welled in Isabella's eyes. Okay, Grandma. I'll do it. She hung up and whispered to herself, voice soft but sure. Dad, I'm coming back. And this time, I'll make you proud. Just wait and see. The next morning, the Silver Plate restaurant was still quiet when a tall man in a dark suit arrived. He carried himself with quiet confidence, his badge reading, Alex Daniel, Executive Assistant to Mr. Michael James, CEO, James Golden Palm Corporation. Miss Henry, he greeted with a polite smile. I'm here on behalf of Mr. James. They took a corner table near the window. Isabella sat across from him, her pen and notepad ready. Michael James, she repeated slowly, trying to place the name. Where have I heard it before? Alex smiled proudly. Yes, Miss Henry. Our CEO, only son of Daniel and Amanda James. He's 32 now, and runs one of the biggest companies in Texas. You may have seen him in Forbes or other magazines. Isabella flipped through the papers, her eyes landing on the signature. Michael James. Maybe she had heard the name before, but it didn't matter now. Alex leaned forward, clearly excited. Mr. James is a fine man, one of the most sought-after bachelors in the country. He became president at 30 and built an empire from there. Isabella smiled politely, ignoring the praise. Let's focus on the offer, she said, tapping the salary section. You're offering company housing and $10,000 a month. Yes, Alex confirmed. You'll be executive chef at the brand new Four Seasons Hotel in Texas City. She sighed softly. That sounds too much. I'm not even the best out there. Not at all. Alex said quickly. You don't understand. We've eaten across Europe and the Americas, and no one has met Mr. James's standards. Until you. Me, she blinked. Yes, he said earnestly. Your dishes stunned him. I was there that night. We came to Boston for a short business trip, and a client insisted we try the Silver Plate. When we saw your presentation, your flavors, your plating, it was unlike anything we'd seen. My boss was speechless. Isabella blinked, surprised. When we tasted your food, it felt like a dream, Alex continued. The textures, the aroma, everything was perfect. We knew right away you were the one we'd been looking for. You're the heart of that hotel, Miss Henry. Thank you, Isabella said softly. At the Silver Plate, people often say it's the food that keeps them coming back. So, Mr. James has already decided. Yes, Alex nodded. He didn't want to risk losing you. He asked me to make sure you don't hesitate. He handed her a pen. All we need is your signature. Isabella hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. All right. She signed the contract, all 4 copies, and set the pen down with a small smile. Then a thought struck her. Wait, about the company housing, is it big enough for 4 people? Alex frowned. 4. Yes, she said, her voice gentle but firm. 2 adults and 2 kids. He blinked. Oh my, I was told you were single. You're married. Isabella smiled shyly. No, I'm a single mother. I live with my aunt and my twins. I hope that's not a problem. Alex relaxed, smiling again. Not at all. We hired you for your skill, not your situation. The apartment has 2 bedrooms. That should work, right? Yes, Isabella said with relief. Perfect. He stood and extended his hand. Welcome to the James Golden Palm Corporation. She shook it warmly. Thank you, Mr. Alex. Later that day, Isabella broke the news over lunch. Auntie, I accepted the job, she said, smiling. Aunt Nora beamed. I trust your judgment, Bella. You've worked so hard. I'll always be here for you. Turning to the twins, Isabella said, Kids, Mommy got a new job. And guess what? The hotel is giving us a place to live. It pays really well too. Ethan's eyes lit up. Does that mean we can get new school bags? Maybe even a car, Isabella teased. Wow. Ella squealed. Is it a new hotel here in Boston? Actually, Isabella said carefully, we're moving to Texas City. The twins froze for a second, then jumped up with excitement. Daddy! Ella shouted. We're finally going to see Daddy. Ethan crossed his arms, pretending to be calm. It's about time, he said. Isabella's heart twisted. Sweethearts, she began, but Ella was already bouncing. Mom, is Daddy excited to see us? Isabella's mouth went dry. She looked helplessly at her aunt. Mommy hasn't told Daddy yet, she managed. He's very busy. Then she quickly stood. And oh, look at the time. I need to get ready for work. She kissed their heads and rushed out, leaving the twins full of dreams, dreams that weren't true. That evening, in their shared bedroom, the twins whispered excitedly. Ethan leaned against the headboard with a notebook in hand. What are you doing? Ella asked. I'm writing everything Mom said about Dad, he said seriously. Once we find someone who matches, we'll know it's him. Ella grinned. If Dad's too busy to find us, we'll find him ourselves. Ethan nodded and held up his hand. You in? Absolutely. They slapped a high five. Daddy, here we come. That same night, in a luxury hotel room across the city, Alex Daniel packed his suitcase for his flight back to Texas. His job in Boston was done. He dialed his boss's number. The call connected after one ring. Did she sign? Came the deep, calm voice of Michael James. Yes, sir. She did, Alex said. Then he hesitated. What is it? Michael asked. Alex cleared his throat. Well, sir, she has children. 2, to be exact. Silence followed. Finally, Michael said coolly, why mention that? We hired her for her talent. If she's good, that's all that matters. Yes, sir, but... Click. The line went dead. Alex sighed. Well, that's that, he muttered, shaking his head. And just when I thought I'd found the woman who could melt the ice. Flashback, 4 days earlier. It was 4 days earlier when Michael James had first seen Isabella. He had flown into Boston City with his assistant for a dinner meeting with a co-investor, Mr. Andy. The plan was simple: dine, discuss, leave. Michael wasn't impressed with the hotel. The moment he stepped into the Silver Plates lobby, he frowned. "Alex," he murmured, "find a way out of here. This place looks outdated." "Boss," Alex whispered, "Mr. Andy said this is the best restaurant in Boston." "Look at the floor, Alex. It's dull. The management clearly doesn't care for details." Just then, Mr. Andy waved from across the lobby. "Mr. James. Over here. So glad you could make it." Michael sighed and walked over. "Trust me, you're in for a treat," Andy said proudly. "The food here is top tier, thanks to our head chef, Miss Isabella Henry." As if on cue, Isabella rushed past them, clearly in a hurry, and accidentally bumped into Michael. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she gasped, steadying herself by touching his arm. "I didn't see you there." Michael looked down at her hand, soft, trembling, and said nothing. "I need to prepare for dinner service," she said quickly, turning to Andy. "It's all right, Bella. Go ahead," Andy said. Then to Michael, "That's our chef, Miss Henry. You'll love her food." Michael's expression softened for the first time that evening. "Fine," he said. "We'll dine here." Alex blinked in surprise. His boss, the man who never tolerated mistakes, had just been bumped into by a woman and didn't complain. Michael James sat at the table, quiet and composed, as dish after dish arrived before him. As they ate, Michael stayed unusually quiet. Each dish that came out seemed to draw his full attention. Each plate was a work of art, colorful, delicate, perfect. He lifted his fork, tasted the food, and paused. "The food is beautiful," he murmured after the first course. Alex raised a brow. "Sir, do you mean the food or the chef?" "The food, Alex," Michael said firmly, but his eyes followed Isabella each time she appeared. For a moment, even Alex, his assistant, noticed something rare, the faintest smile crossing his boss's face. Then, in a calm, steady voice, Michael said, "I want her." Alex blinked. "So, I want her as executive chef at the Four Seasons Hotel," Michael said simply. Alex's eyes widened. "But, Mr. James, we already have an executive chef." "Then demote him," Michael replied, his tone sharp but certain. "I haven't been this satisfied with a meal in years. We need her." He turned to Andy, the restaurant's co-owner. "Can you make that happen?" Andy straightened immediately. "I'll arrange it. As much as we'll hate to lose her, no one ever says no to Mr. James." Michael gave a slow nod. "Good." Alex almost laughed in disbelief. He had never seen his boss this way. Calm, yes, but with a strange light in his eyes. At first, he thought it was just admiration for the food, until Michael did something he never did. He ordered again, and again. 5 hours passed. They tasted every item on the menu, 3 full courses, 3 times over. By the 3rd round, Alex's back hurt from sitting, but Michael was still focused, sharp, almost entranced. "I want to try every dish," Michael explained when Alex raised an eyebrow. "I need to test the chef's consistency." Alex would have believed that excuse if Michael hadn't looked up every single time the chef stepped out of the kitchen. Each time Isabella appeared, smiling politely, speaking with guests, Michael's gaze followed her, quietly studying her face. Something about her stirred something deep inside him. By the end of the night, Alex leaned back and exhaled. He had seen many sides of his boss, the ruthless businessman, the perfectionist, the man who built an empire. But tonight, he saw something new. For the first time, Michael James looked human. And as they left the restaurant hours later, Alex thought to himself, This woman, Isabella Henry, she's the key. End of flashback. 11 a.m., Texas International Airport. Ella, what are you looking for? Isabella asked as they stepped out of arrivals. Since landing, Ella had been restless, staring at every man who passed. At her mother's voice, she ran back and grabbed Isabella's hand. Mommy, is Daddy picking us up? A lump rose in Isabella's throat. She glanced at Aunt Nora, who was carrying Ethan. Nora gave a tiny eye roll that said, "Here we go again." Ethan looked up too, waiting for an answer. Your dad is on a business trip, Isabella said quickly. That's right. She nodded toward the doors. Oh, look, there's a face I want you to see. Grandma Elizabeth. With shining eyes, Ella bolted ahead. Isabella hurried after her. Grandma, Grandma. Ella cried, leaping into Elizabeth's arms. Elizabeth, now in her 80s, sat in a wheelchair pushed by her caregiver Stella. She couldn't walk far anymore, but her eyes were bright, and her smile was warm. Tears sprang to her eyes as she hugged the little girl, then reached for Isabella's hand. Bella, I missed you so much. I missed you too, Grandma, Isabella said, folding into her embrace. They stood there laughing and crying in the busy airport, soaking in a reunion 6 years overdue. Come here, young man, Elizabeth beckoned to Ethan. Give Grandma some love. Hello, Grandma Elizabeth. Nice to meet you, Ethan said politely, joining the hug. Elizabeth cupped their faces. Beautiful girl, just like your mother, she told Ella. Then to Ethan, and a very handsome boy. Like Daddy? Ella asked, turning to her twin. Elizabeth chuckled softly. She knew about Isabella's lie. Perhaps, she said, pinching Ethan's cheek. I have a gift for both of you. It was their quiet trick, steer the twins away from the daddy topic. Even Aunt Nora played along. Where is it, Grandma? Ella asked, scanning the crowd. In the car, Elizabeth laughed. But we'll open it at your new home. To keep General Benjamin Henry from discovering their arrival, Elizabeth had hired a chauffeur. Stella wouldn't tell a soul. They drove to the Four Seasons Hotel, whose top floors held private condos, some leased, some company-owned. One of them was now Isabella's home. A concierge and a bellman escorted them to the 40th floor and into the flat. It was modest and fully furnished, 2 bedrooms, a small balcony, bright windows. Just enough for Isabella, her aunt, and the twins. Wow, is this our new home, Mommy? It's beautiful. Ella squealed, hands on her cheeks. Ethan nodded, scanning the room like a tiny inspector. It's new and shiny. It's perfect. Elizabeth lifted an eyebrow at his verdict and shot Isabella a knowing look. That's a sign. He must be like his father, Bella. I wouldn't know, Grandma, Isabella murmured. A hotel staffer popped in with a tablet. Chef Isabella, please make yourself at home, she said with a smile. I'm Cindy. Mr. Alex will check in tomorrow to discuss the grand opening. Thank you, Cindy. You've been a great help, Isabella replied. Of course, Chef. And I have to say, you're so beautiful, Cindy said, grinning. With you as executive chef, the kitchen staff won't miss a day of work. My mummy is so beautiful that I'm beautiful, too, Ella announced proudly. Everyone laughed, even Elizabeth. I bet, Cindy said. She turned to Ethan. And your brother is handsome, too. She studied him a beat, then blurted, he kind of looks like the boss. Ha ha, just maybe our boss looks like my brother. Ella asked, eyes wide. She glanced at Ethan, and the twins shed a silent thought. Just maybe, Cindy hedged. I've only seen the boss once, and from far away. There aren't many photos online either. He avoids cameras. He's like a secret CEO. She checked the time. I'd better go. Nice to meet you, Chef. Okay, kids, time to open your gifts, Elizabeth said as Cindy left. While the twins ripped into wrapping paper, Isabella stepped onto the balcony. She checked the locks, important with kids in the house, then slid the glass open and looked out at the city she once called home. Texas City had changed. New towers crowded the skyline. To the left, a flash of the old mall her father used to take her to. To the right, beyond the high-rises, she imagined the military camp to the south. Somewhere in that direction stood her father's mansion, once a happy home, before he remarried. "Hello, Texas. I'm back," she whispered, letting out a long breath. "Bella," Elizabeth said, walking over, this time with a cane instead of the chair. "Grandma, use your wheelchair," Isabella said gently. "It's all right. I can still walk, just not far." Elizabeth smiled faintly. "There's something I need to tell you." "What is it, Grandma?" Isabella asked, guiding her into a seat. "Your stepsister, Rose, she and Lucas are engaged." Isabella nodded. "That's good, Grandma. They belong together." Her smile was steady. "It doesn't concern me anymore." That night, the twins were tucked into their new bed. Elizabeth had gifted the matching tablets, plus a doll for Ella and a sling bag for Ethan. Ella was drowsy. Ethan was still downloading apps. Or so Isabella thought. "Ethan, what time is it?" "It's already 9, Isabella called, stepping into the bathroom. "Put your new tablet down." He sighed. "Okay, Mom. Can I ask you about Dad?" "You can have 10 more minutes on the tablet," she replied quickly, and slipped into the bathroom. The twins traded a look. Ella giggled. Ethan just shook his head. "Maybe Dad is a government spy," Ella whispered. "Or someone with secret kids," Ethan muttered. "Huh. A rich daddy protecting us from bad guys. That's why we're secret kids," Ella said, proud of her theory. "Whatever, Ella. The point is, Mom is hiding something," Ethan said. "Did you hear what that lady said about you looking like her boss?" Ella asked. "Yeah. That's why I've been searching," Ethan said, tapping the screen. "There are no pictures of him. But his name is Michael James." He pinched the image of the James Golden Palm Corporation headquarters. "I wonder how far this is. Are you planning to go there?" Ella leaned in. "You can't ride a bus by yourself." Ethan's eyes slid to the bedside table, where Isabella's employment papers from the James Golden Palm Corporation sat under a paperclip. The address, the logo, the name, everything he needed. A slow smirk tugged at his lips. "I guess," he whispered, "we'll have to make it happen." 7:30 a.m., Texas City. The morning was chaos. Isabella rushed around the apartment, flipping through folders as the twins finished breakfast. "Oh no, 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 no," she gasped. "Where is it?" Her employment certificate, the document that guaranteed her twins' school tuition, was gone. Without it, she couldn't enroll them. It was already 7:30, and school started at 9 o'clock. A wave of panic rose in her chest. "Why now?" she muttered, raking her fingers through her hair. There was only one place she could get a replacement. The James Golden Palm Corporation. They jumped into a taxi. If she could get the paper in under an hour, maybe the twins could still make it. By 8:30, they stepped into the tall glass building that towered above the city, JGC headquarters. Isabella led the twins to the reception desk. "Good morning. I need to speak with Mr. Alex Daniel." "Do you have an appointment, Miss Henry?" one receptionist asked politely. "No, but I've been trying to reach him." "It's urgent," Isabella said quickly. The two receptionists exchanged a look. The elegant woman standing before them didn't look like a liar. Then little Ella stepped forward, clasping her hands together. "Please, my mom needs a paper so we can go to school. Please help us." The receptionist smiled, touched. "Okay, sweetheart. I'll call Mr. Alex." Upstairs on the 20th floor, Alex Daniel was already busy arranging coffee and documents for his boss, Mr. Michael James. When the call came through, he frowned. Isabella Henry is downstairs, with children, the receptionist said. So she really does have kids, Alex murmured, curious. Let her up. 10 minutes later, Isabella arrived at his desk, twins in tow. Alex wasn't usually a kid person, but Ella's bright smile melted him immediately. She marched right up and stretched out her tiny hand. Hi, I'm Ella. I'm Mommy's little princess, the most beautiful 5-year-old in the city. 4, Isabella corrected gently, embarrassed. She turns 5 in December. Alex laughed. Don't apologize. She's adorable. Hi, Ella. You can call me Uncle Alex. Uncle Alex. Ella tilted her head. Do you give Christmas presents too? The nearby staff chuckled. Isabella groaned. Sorry about her. Alex turned to the quiet boy half hiding behind Isabella. And you must be Ethan. Ethan looked up coolly. Hi. Alex froze for a moment, then leaned in closer, blinking. Wow, you look exactly like my boss. Ethan frowned. Is your boss a kid too? Alex burst into laughter. Same stare. Same tone. Yep, just like him. Maybe it's a coincidence, Isabella said quickly, steering the twins aside. Anyway, I'm here because the school needs the employment certificate you gave me. It's gone missing. Can I get a new one? Oh, of course, Alex said, pulling out his files. While they spoke, the twins wandered off, reading nameplates and peeking into glass offices, until they stopped in front of a large, sleek black door. CEO, Michael James. Could this be our daddy? Ella whispered. There's only one way to find out, Ethan said, eyes gleaming. Let's go in. Ready? Ethan asked. Ready, Ella replied. Meanwhile, Alex was saying, you see, Miss Henry. Then he heard a soft scrape behind him. He turned and gasped. Kids. No, don't touch that door. But it was too late. Ethan and Ella were pushing with all their might. It's heavy. Ethan groaned. Help me. Ella said, bracing her shoulder against it. The huge door didn't move an inch. Isabella spun around. Ethan. Ella. What are you doing? Are you trying to get me fired on my first week? Alex hurried over, laughing nervously. It's okay. The boss's office locks from the inside during meetings. He pointed to the keypad beside the door. High security. Both twins frowned. Just our luck, Ethan muttered. Alex crouched down. Hey, back to my desk, okay? If the boss sees you on that camera, he pointed up, Uncle Alex could lose his job. You don't want that, do you? Sorry, Uncle Alex, Ella said sweetly. You'll still give us Christmas presents, right? It's 2 in 1 for us, birthday and Christmas. Ella, Isabella scolded gently. They were both born on December 25th, she explained. Wow, Alex said, smiling. You two really are your mom's greatest gifts. Returning to Isabella's issue, Alex sighed. Getting a new certificate will take some time. I can lend you the money instead. How much do you need? Oh, no, Mr. Alex, I can't possibly. Come on. How much? 3,000, she whispered. He laughed lightly. That's not even half your salary, Miss Henry. Relax. He grabbed his checkbook. Which school? Graceland Academy. Alex smiled knowingly as he wrote. Good choice. It's partly owned by Mr. Michael's mother. We don't have time to ask for favors, though. He tore the check and handed it to her. Hey, pay me back whenever. Isabella's voice trembled. I don't know how to thank you. How about a free meal when you open your restaurant? He joked. She grinned. Deal. Thank you, Mr. Alex. Kids, let's go. We're late for school. Later that morning, in Michael's office, Alex stood nervously as his boss looked up. "Get me her profile," Michael said suddenly. "Right away, sir." 10 minutes later, Alex returned with a thick folder, Isabella's file, resume, IDs, and her twins' birth certificates. Michael opened it, skimming quickly. Isabella Henry, single. His eyes stopped at the parents section. Mother, Sarah Henry. He frowned. Father, Benjamin Henry. General Benjamin Henry, he muttered. Why does that sound familiar? He rubbed his chin. I've met that man twice, and I thought he only had one daughter. He tried to remember the name. It didn't come. No matter. Then he spotted another line. Place of birth, Texas City. His lips twitched. Well, what a coincidence, he murmured. Next, he scanned the children's birth certificates. No father's name listed. Something stirred inside him. He wasn't one to pry, but Isabella was different. Ever since that dinner in Boston, she had stayed in his thoughts. And now that he knew she wasn't married, his curiosity returned. He spread the documents across his desk, snapping photos of each page. Then he sent them to a private contact. He picked up the phone. Aiden, I just sent some documents. Find everything about this woman, Isabella Henry. I want to know who the father of her children is. The man who abandoned them. Yes, sir, came the hacker's voice. I'll have answers in 24 hours. Michael's voice dropped cold. Good. I don't tolerate men who walk away from their families. He ended the call, then dialed another number. Graceland Academy, answered a woman's voice. Principal's office, please, Michael said smoothly. Meanwhile, Isabella handed over Alex's check and her twins' forms at the school office. The registrar's eyes widened slightly as she read. One moment, please, she said and stepped away to make a quick phone call. When she returned, she smiled warmly. Miss Henry, your children are officially enrolled. You can take them to their classroom, kindergarten. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Isabella said. In class, Ethan and Ella were introduced to their new classmates, 8 curious little faces. They fit in instantly. Later, the registrar called Isabella back. The principal would like to meet you. In the office, a kind, elegant woman rose to greet her. Good morning, Miss Henry. I'm Mrs. Stella Desmond, principal of Graceland Academy. Good morning, Mrs. Desmond, Isabella said, shaking her hand. I must say, your school feels so warm and welcoming. Mrs. Desmond smiled. Thank you. We're proud of that. Actually, your children scored among the highest in their evaluation exams. We'd like to offer them the chance to take our scholarship assessment, available to children of James Golden Palm employees. Really? Isabella gasped. That's amazing. Yes, please. I'm sure they'll do well. An hour later, Ethan and Ella sat in a small classroom, taking 2 assessments, one written, one practical. Both finished early, confident. When the results came in, the teachers were astonished. They are exceptional, Mrs. Desmond said. They both passed with perfect scores. Just like that, the twins earned full scholarships. The school even returned Isabella's check for the enrollment fees. Back in Boston, something like this would never have happened. Isabella could hardly believe her luck. A dream job, a free home, free tuition. Everything was falling into place. She called Alex during lunch. Mr. Daniel, guess what? My kids just earned scholarships. I only have to pay for books and small fees. I can return your check later. Alex laughed. A scholarship? That's new to me. But that's great news. Keep the check for now. I'll tell HR later. Isabella smiled. It looks like being part of the James Golden Palm Corporation is already bringing me good fortune. Please thank Mr. James for me. Alex hesitated, then said casually, Actually, why don't you thank him yourself? He's available at 2 this afternoon. Me? Mr. James, she stammered. He's a CEO. I can't just walk in. Don't worry. He'll see you, Alex assured her. I'll let him know you're coming. Isabella laughed nervously. All right, then. 2 it is. Thank you again, Mr. Daniel. Anytime, Miss Henry, Alex said. When the call ended, he smiled faintly to himself. Something told him that when those two met again, sparks were going to fly. Inside the sleek top-floor office of the James Golden Palm Corporation, Michael James sat behind his massive desk, fingers tapping impatiently against the polished wood. He wasn't usually a man who waited on anyone, but today was different. He checked his watch. His contact should have called in another 30 minutes. To his surprise, the phone lit up early. He frowned slightly, then answered. Mr. James, good news, came the woman's voice. The children passed the assessment. They are bright, worthy of the scholarship you offered. I've also returned the check their mother gave, exactly as you instructed. Michael leaned back, eyes narrowing. Good. Thank you, Mrs. Desmond. Continue giving them the best care possible. The principal sounded curious. Mr. James, just to confirm, only Ella and Ethan Henry are recipients. Yes, he replied smoothly. 2 are enough for now. Depending on how well the academy performs and how you treat our employees' children, I may reopen the program later. Oh, absolutely, sir. Mrs. Desmond gushed. And may I say, your mother, Mrs. Amanda James, is a wonderful supporter of our school. That's good to hear, Michael said flatly. I expect nothing less. He ended the call and exhaled slowly. Then he muttered under his breath, what on earth am I doing? He had never done this kind of thing before, personally calling a principal, arranging a scholarship for someone he barely knew. But something inside him said it was the right thing. Maybe it had to do with her. Meanwhile, outside his office, Alex Daniel was still on a call, the one that made Michael stop in his tracks. I didn't know we offered scholarships either, Alex said, laughing awkwardly. Well, I don't have kids, so I never asked. I'm sorry, Miss Henry. I should have mentioned it earlier. Michael froze. Miss Henry. That name again. He turned his chair toward Alex's desk and gestured for silence. Alex continued on the phone. Anyway, Miss Henry, there's no rush to return the check. My offer still stands. Michael grabbed his phone, typed a quick message, and held it up for Alex to see. Have her return the check. Invite her here. Alex gulped and corrected himself instantly. Actually, Miss Henry, if you'd like, you can come by the company later. I think you should come over. Michael's piercing eyes didn't blink. Oh, and since you're coming, why not thank Mr. James in person? Alex added quickly. Me. Isabella's voice crackled faintly through the phone. I mean, Mr. James is far too busy for someone like me. Michael's gaze sharpened. Alex forced a laugh. Don't worry, Miss Henry. Who knows, maybe he's already expecting you. I'll pencil you in for 2 this afternoon. That's fine, she said. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. See you soon, Miss Henry, Alex finished, his voice cracking slightly under the weight of Michael's stare. As soon as the call ended, Alex turned to face his boss. Did I do well, sir? He asked nervously. Michael didn't answer immediately. He just folded his arms and said, clear my schedule at 2. Yes, sir, Alex said quickly. You're free then anyway. Good. And Alex, Michael's tone hardened. No one is to know about that scholarship. Understood? Yes, sir. Michael exhaled deeply and glanced around the office. The other assistants had already gone to lunch. Good. No one would know what he'd just done. He turned back to Alex. Now get my lunch. And tell the chef, No soy sauce. Anything else is fine. At Graceland Academy, Isabella sat with the twins in the school cafeteria. Sit tight, you two. I'll grab us something to eat, she said. She walked up to the counter. Excuse me, she asked the server, pointing to a dish of sautéed pork in brown sauce. Does this have soy sauce? My son hates it. No, the woman replied. That's oyster sauce. Perfect. One of that, and one fried chicken, please. She returned to the table balancing 2 trays. All right, my little geniuses, lunch is served. Ethan frowned. Why are we eating here? Because Mommy has to go back to the James Golden Palm office after this, she said. I need to return a check to Uncle Alex. You two got scholarships, remember? He stared at the utensils. Are you sure these are clean? Isabella chuckled softly. Yes, Ethan. This school is spotless. Look around. He squinted at the spoon suspiciously. It's possible, he said finally, then took a bite. Ella, meanwhile, twirled her hair and gave her mother a sweet smile. So after lunch, we're going to your office, right, Mommy? Yes, but we won't stay long, Isabella said, unwrapping her napkin. We'll just drop off the check and come back home. She didn't notice the secret look that passed between the twins. Ethan leaned closer to Ella. This time, we're not leaving the building, he whispered. Ella grinned. Not until we see Daddy. Ethan nodded seriously. Operation Find Daddy starts now. Ella giggled, trying not to let her mother hear. As Isabella bit into her food, she smiled faintly, completely unaware that her children had just launched a plan that would change all their lives. Type part 2 below and stay tuned for the next part, where Isabella steps into Michael's office. See you in the next one.